Hello and welcome to the Parish Church of St. Peter in Ropsley. I hope I've said that right, Ropsley. He looks okay. This church derives its character from the timber-framed buildings of the Anglo-Saxon times. Saxon long and short work is clearly visible in the north-east and north-west angles of the nave. In fact, this church contains fragments of the earliest stonework in existence in the country. In the 13th century, the fine western tower of good plain English structure was erected. 3 stages it stands, each marked with a moulded band of stone known as a string course. It's a living example of the architecture and style of the Saxon, Norman, Early English, Decorated and Perpendicular periods. In the 12th century, the church was made larger by extending this north side, where the churchyard was least popular for burials, and hence the ground being unencumbered by existing graves. The north wall of the nave was rebuilt in the form of 3 rounded arches. Here you can see a Latin legend that translates as "Go not away unless ye pray an Ave Maria." This curiously decorated south porch was built in 1483, and it's quite likely that the empty niche above the doorway once housed a statue of the Virgin Mary. In the 13th century, the chancel arch and pointed arches of the south aisle were created. It was found that an addition of a south aisle made the church a bit too dark, so in the 15th century, windows were constructed high in the walls of the nave. In the 14th century, the chancel wall was pierced with a single arch leading to a chapel added to the east end of the south aisle. In this arched recess near the chapel is an effigy of an unknown lady clad in gown, hood and chin cloth from that period, with her head resting upon 2 small cushions beneath a rounded canopy. Above the Welby window is a rough four-centred arch with an obtuse angled pediment above it. This passage led from the stairway built into the wall of the north aisle and into the rood loft. The marks of this can be quite clearly seen on the chancel arch here. In the east window of the north aisle are fragments of medieval glass which form part of the figure of Johannes de Welby. There's evidence that Sir John Welby was alive in 1376, so this must be fairly contemporary. Here is a double sedilia cut into the stonework of the chancel wall. In the south wall of the church, close to the porch, is a small oblong window with a wide internal splay, giving rise to the thought that it may have been some form of leper's squint, enabling a leper to take part in the service rather than being in the church. This early 15th century octagonal font is decorated with encircling shields. Thank you for watching this short film of the Parish Church of St. Peter in Ropsley, Lincolnshire.